Hello, sixth graders. This is Mr. Shear. I hope your day is starting off well. We are continuing on with multiplying fractions. We're on day 2 of 4, and today we're going to be working on multiplying mixed fractions, also known as mixed numbers. So if you haven't looked yet, it's a book assignment today. It's pages 285 and 287 in your book. And then I put a note on the answer key, but I'll also tell you here you can skip both questions 11 and 26. So again, 285, 287, there's a couple questions marked on the answer key that you can skip. I would very much recommend that you use a calculator today. So the book has a lot of larger digit numbers it has you deal with today, and I think it'll be much easier done with a calculator. There's a lot of large multiplying. I would still follow the steps that I'm going to outline in this video, but again, you'll be well served by a calculator today. All right, I'm going to start with a quick reminder. There are 3 types of fractions. Yesterday, we multiplied proper fractions, and a proper fraction like 3/5 means that the numerator, the top, is smaller than the denominator. Today, we're going to be multiplying mixed fractions. So that's when you have a whole number and a fraction. Now, in order to be able to multiply mixed fractions, you have to be able to go back and forth between mixed and improper fractions. Let's just jump right in. We'll do a quick review of what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we multiplied proper fractions. And again, that's the easiest fraction math I know because, like in the case of 1/3 and 1/4, you can just multiply straight across. So as a reminder, with multiplying fractions, you can just multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 4 is 12. That is your answer, and it doesn't reduce. So again, that's what we did yesterday. Today, it's a little tougher because now we're multiplying mixed fractions. So there's 3 steps to this, and I'm going to walk you through a couple examples. I've got 1 1/2 times 4 1/2. The first thing you have to do is you must make the mixed fractions improper. So step 1 is you make each of these 2 fractions into improper fractions. And if you don't remember how to do that, it's the whole number times the bottom plus the top back over the denominator. So for 1 1/2, I'm going to go 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So 1 1/2 is the same as 3/2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And now I've changed 4 1/2 into 9/2. So again, I've switched both my mixed fractions into improper fractions. That's step 1. Step 2, now that I've got 2 improper fractions, I can just multiply straight across. 3 times 9 is 27, and 2 times 2 is 4. So once they're improper, you just multiply straight across. Now I'm left with 27/4, which is an improper fraction. And I'm going to have to take that improper fraction and change it back to a mixed. So step 3, if you are left with an improper fraction, which you often are with these, change it back to a mixed number. And if you don't remember how to do that, it's the top number, 27, divided by the bottom, 4. It goes in 6 times. That's your whole number. So I take the remainder. 4 times 6 is 24. The remainder is 3. I take that remainder and I put it back over the denominator. So 1 1/2 times 4 1/2 is 6 3/4. That's your answer. All right, quick recap. Step 1 was I changed it to an improper fraction. Step 2 was I multiplied it straight across. Step 3 is I changed it back to a mixed fraction. And I just want to point out this, because I see students try this, you cannot do it in pieces. You can't go 1 times 4 is 4 and 1/2 times 1/2. It will not work. It will not work. So you have to change it to improper. You've got to multiply straight across, and then you can switch it back to a mixed fraction. Let's try a second example. So here I have 2.5 times 2 1/3. My first step is I'm going to take these mixed fractions and change them to improper. Again, to do that, I'm going to take 2.5. I'm going to go 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So 2.5 will change into 5/2. And then I'm going to take 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So I'm left with 5/2 times 7/3. Okay, now I can just multiply straight across. 5 times 7 is 35. 2 times 3 is 6. And then the last step is to take that improper fraction, 35/6, and to change it into a mixed number. And in order to do that, I go 35 divided by 6. Goes in 5 times, because 5 times 6 is 30, with a remainder of 5. So my answer is 5 and 5/6. I've got one more example I want to show you, because the book gives you some big numbers today. It is the same process with big numbers. I'm going to show you how I would use a calculator to help me out. I would follow the same steps that I've outlined, but I'll show you how a calculator might be helpful. So the first step, I've got 2 1/5 times 3 4/7. The first step is to take these mixed fractions and to change them to an improper fractions. Okay, so 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So 2 1/5 changes to 11/5. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 4 is 25. So now I've got 25/7. So what you'll notice is that you're going to have some pretty big numbers here. And I would use a calculator to help me with multiplying of the big numbers. So 11 times 25. On a calculator, it'll tell you it's 275. And then 5 times 7 is 35. So right now I've got a pretty large improper fraction. And last step, I've got to change it back into a mixed number. So to change an improper fraction back to a mixed, the way I do it with a calculator is I see how many times 35 will go in the 275. So I take the top divided by the bottom. I end up with 7 and some decimal. That means there's going to be a remainder. So because I'm looking for how many times 35 will go into 275, what I really care about is it goes in 7 times. That's my whole number. That is my total amount of times. That gives me a whole number of 7. And now I need to know what the remainder is so I can put it back over the denominator, back over the 35. So I go 7 times 35 to realize that that's 245. So all I did was go 35 goes into 275. I got 7 on the calculator. So I thought 7 times 35 is 245. If I subtract those two, it tells me I have a remainder of 30. So when in 7 whole times with a remainder of 30. So I take that 7, that's my whole number, and I put the 30 back over the denominator. 7 and 30 35ths, which reduces by 5 to 7 and 6/7. All right, that's what you're doing today. Again, 2 pages, 16 total problems. Page 285, skip number 11. Page 287, skip number 26. As always, I look forward to seeing you at the meet. We'll go over some of this together today at the meet. Email with questions, 6th graders. And I do appreciate you making it this far and watching until the end of the video. Have a great rest of your day.